We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships.
This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome to the Couples Academy Show, my friends. My name is Hassani.
And I'm Danielle.
And we're with you for another great morning. Hope you're having a great day today. Some of you are on a drive. I almost said drive by. What do they call that when you're on your way to work?
Drinking drive.
No, that's what we do. Do. It's called
the commute.
The commute, yeah. You're commuting to work. Maybe you're drinking a cup of coffee. Maybe you're in a different part of the country and it's the wee hours of the morning. But whatever it is, we thank you for tuning in. We've been in a series that we have just started that we're really excited about because there's so much to unpack with this. And it's entitled Becoming High Value. Become a high value husband. And we want to talk about what that looks like because there's so many philosophies and so many ideas out there that really aren't conducive for a healthy relationship. And we want to take the time to unpack it, to break it down, to put it back together, to give you what you need.
Ultimately, we just got stuff to say. You know, we got things to say about what's out here in these streets about a high value man. We think that half the conversation is being had, and you can't have a one-sided conversation. There's always 2 sides to everything. So we want to dial deep into that. But before we do, I want to make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss a show, and so that this message continues to spread to the 4 corners of the earth so that we can support this strong foundation called marriage. It's important to God, it's important to us, and it's important to you. So help us out with that.
Also, before we get started, we just want to let you know, because we've been getting phone calls, texts, and emails about our upcoming retreat, the last 2 of the year, the last 2 that we will engage in, or at least Couples Academy will lead. We have one in October, right? We're going to be in Lake Geneva in Wisconsin, partnering with Heart Life Ministries, that amazing team, Wes and Nisha Stringfellow. They're an amazing couple who do a marriage getaway. We're going to be promoting that in just probably by next week. So if you haven't registered, you'll have an opportunity to do an amazing time. And then the very next month in November, we are having our final Audacity of Marriage retreat. And so people are registering. We have a few slots left, so make sure that you get in while you can because it's going to be spectacular. All right, we're going to waste no time with this. We want to jump into this conversation. I have something in my notes. We were talking yesterday about how Kevin Samuels has defined the high value man. And interestingly enough, the number 1 qualifier was money. And so according to that, you had to make $100,000 or more in order to qualify. Now, according to the statistics, only about 9% of the entire male population makes $100,000 or more. So you have just knocked out 91%. Now, I'm talking to those who are seeking a relationship because we have that audience as well. The challenge is we have married men who watch this particular individual to determine what it means to be high value.
Right.
And we're going to talk about why that's destructive in a second, but I want to give you the other qualifications. There are 6 that he has. Number 1, making $100,000. Number 2, it's the length of time that you've been performing at that level. So in essence, you need to have made that for 3 to 5 years so that no one could say, oh, it was just a fluke. Maybe it was a good year. It's not sustainable. You haven't proven yourself. So you've got to do it for 3 to 5 years. Number 3, he says group acceptance. Group acceptance is when you are accepted by other high value men. All right. So in essence, they're a part of your society. Another way of looking at it would be number 4, your personal network. Do you have other high value men in your phone? Can you pick up the phone and call them? Can you network with them? Can you do business with them? As they say, birds of a feather flock together. You're the sum total of your 5 closest friends. And so if you have a network of other high value men, that makes you high value. Number 5, visibility, meaning are you positioned and is your income visible on LinkedIn? So in essence, if you're a high value man, you got to have a LinkedIn account because is for a professional individual. So if you're making a lot of money and you're doing it illegally, that's not high value. High value is associated with doing it professionally and legally and having the social bandwidth and having the criteria and credentials to say that you're high value. And the sixth one is utility. And he means how useful you are to your group and to others, right? So that's being resourceful. Now, here's the deal. I love everything about that list. Everything about it. The problem is it has nothing to do with being a man. It has everything to do with being an employee. It has everything to do with being a professional. It has everything to do with being an entrepreneur. And it's an amazing list, but it has nothing to do with being a man. And so because so many men are in search for significance, they're trying to find out what does it mean to be a man, because in society things have shifted and changed. And so manhood has been lost, or we're still trying to figure out what that means today.
Right. It makes me think about gangs. When you've ever seen those documentaries about people who were in gangs and who got out of it, the big reason that some of them joined it is out of necessity, out of needing to see somebody who emulated what they considered manhood in their environment. They didn't know any better. They didn't have a father at home. They never saw manhood exhibited in any other way except for this gang leader that was in charge and that had other gangsters following him and doing sinister acts. And so, to me, the big problem with that list is that it corners men. It forces them into this small box over here, and it leaves out a tremendous part of the conversation, which is, what are your values? And it's very concerning to me that women are seeking these high-value men based upon those standards, because in order for you to be with that kind of a high-value man, and we're going to get into the more details of why, some troublesome aspects of it, you have to lose your character, and you have to let go of your standards and your values, because you're not going to be with somebody who all they have to offer is finances, but they have options and can do anything and everything else they want.
That's absolutely right. So it's got to be more than just money, right? And it's got to be more than just how successful you are on social media or in your immediate network. That does not make you a man.
Now, those are great qualities in the midst of other wonderful characteristics about you.
Absolutely.
You know, because just because you make a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean that you know how to keep it. You know, and I think that that's a huge part of it too that's left out. And the other thing is, like, you know, high value men that how valuable are you to your communities? When I think about family, and I hear a lot of husbands are listening to this type of content and shaping their minds around what manhood looks like and what a high value man is and all of that, that's leaving out, how do you care for your family? You know, how do you honor your wife? How do you respect your children? How do you raise your children? Like, all of those things go into what it means to be a man and a father and a husband. And that's why it's important for us to dial into, who is he talking to, husbands? Is he even talking to you?
That's a very good question. The question is, who do you listen to? You listen to people who have what you want and have been where you are. So let's start with listen to people who have what you want. Fine, let's put money aside. The person you're listening to, do they represent, do they bear the fruit of what it is that you want? So if I want to know how to be successful in my marriage, should I listen to someone who's not? If I want to be...
Or who's not even married.
Well, that's my point. He's not married.
I was hearing
he's
successful. Right.
He's not a husband.
He's not only is he not a successful husband, he ain't even a husband.
He's not even a husband. So I'm going to learn how to be a husband from someone who's not a husband?
Right.
It just doesn't make sense.
Has he ever been a husband?
Well, yes, he's been married twice.
Okay, well.
And so, you know, a lot of times people who divorce, it's not like they don't have wisdom. It's not like they don't have anything to share.
Right.
They can have great information because we've all had a past, and so we're not discrediting him for that. But the question is, what he's sharing, does it line up with success in your existing relationship?
For you and where you want to go.
Exactly. And so if men are looking at this particular criteria, it presents a problem. Now, what I want to do is, there's a powerful video excerpt that I want to share, but I know time is running short. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna come back on the other side of this. We want you to tune in. First of all, we want you to let us know where you're calling in from so we can acknowledge you. But then we're gonna get into this little excerpt and take the time to unpack it and show you why this whole definition of a high value man is destructive to any man who is married in a relationship. Be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching the Couples Academy show, and I just want to acknowledge some of our faithful listeners. Good morning, Jody, calling in from Scoxville, PA. Squaxionville, PA. Don't know about that, where that's at, but welcome. Fedlina from Nevada. Cat Ban is tuning in from Michigan. Good morning to you. Good morning, Bobby. Cousin Bobby's on. Good morning, Miss Smith from PA. B. O'Neill from Louisiana. J.D. Pruitt, good and faithful. Good morning to you. Torre Love, good morning to you. Ladidra Wilkinson from Dallas, Texas. Dee Dee is tuning in from South Carolina. Hey, Wendy, good to see you too, sis. Hey, Ralph, good morning. Ralph has a question. Do we want to read the questions right now?
Okay, so we'll go back to that.
We'll
We'll acknowledge that in a second.
Okay. And then Shireen from Antigua. Good morning, guys.
Listen, guys, we're going to jump right in. Listen, we're talking about the high value man. Ralph, we'll get to you in a second. I want to share this clip with you because I think it's problematic for many reasons. Not only does he qualify being a high value man in a one-dimensional way, once you become one, it comes along with certain privileges. So let's just take a look at what he has to say and unpack this a little bit.
Do men deserve do high value men deserve the option to cheat? Ladies, do they deserve it? Can you tell me they deserve it? Can you say they deserve, do high value men deserve the right to exercise options? You call it cheating. Do they deserve the right to exercise options? Meaning, if Brooklyn 6521 gets out there and has to work and push himself 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week, focused on a task, dedicating himself for 20, 30 years to become the best version of himself, put that work in there, and all the things that come along with it, does he deserve what it comes to? Let's ask, do the Super Bowl champions deserve to profit off of winning the Super Bowl? Yes, that's why the MVP of the Super Bowl tends to get on the cover of Weeds, they get endorsements, they get all kind of stuff. To the victor go the spoils. So the men who put themselves in the top 10%, 5%, 3%, 1% of men, they have separated themselves by their own work. Do they deserve the right to exercise options? And if you, and ladies, can you honestly say that if you flip the script and made it to where women were in the same position, would you look with a straight face, look and tell men that these women, would you hold the same standard for women? Would you look at men and say women the same way and be like, well, a woman is not exercising this way. So here's the thing. I say men have the right. High value men have options. They do. You know they have options. And if you don't like it, here are your things. Don't deal with it. Don't deal with it. But don't get upset that high value men have options and if they choose to exercise an option. The problem with many women today is they want a high-value man, a loyal alpha, but they want him all to themselves when they aren't bringing anything else to the table. What are you bringing that matches? It's like it's an unbalanced deal. You want one man who's worth 10 men, but you want them all to yourself. And the funny thing is, how many women call in saying they want these high value men, and they still want nannies and cooks and chefs and everything else. And it's like, what are you doing here? Do they deserve it? And that's what I'm trying to get women to understand. The kind of men you want something, and they deserve something.
Wow. Yeah, where do we start with that one? Where do we start with that?
There were so many holes in that.
Wow.
You know, one thing that I was thinking is like, okay, the people, his audience that are listening to him that actually want to be his definition of a high value man are going to need therapy at some point to recover from what they have embraced that he has said.
Thank you, Kevin Samuels.
There are a lot of holes in that, because to say that, you know, a high value man deserves options and you expect all this, but what do you bring into the table? That doesn't even make sense, because what if I am bringing it to the table? Is he no longer entitled to have options by his definition, right? So a high value man in his definition with a high value woman in his definition together, how does this work? Are they both able to have options?
Sure.
So now are we promoting open, I guess we're promoting open relationships, because if I'm a high value woman, then I got options and I can step out when I want to, since I'm with this high value man. You know, none of that makes sense.
It doesn't.
And when I just want to share something about values, because it's important for us to look at what values actually are, okay? And so a quick definition is, your values are the things that you believe are important in the way you live and work. They should determine your priorities, and deep down, they're probably the measure you use to tell if your life is turning out the way that you want it to. When the things that you do and the way that you behave match your values, life is usually good. You're satisfied and content. But when these don't align with your personal values, that's when things feel wrong. This can be a real source of unhappiness. And so for you to base your...
Oh, you took your glasses off. All right.
Because I needed to read.
So you about to go
okay?
in.
For you to base your desires for a man or a woman on what they have accomplished and what they've achieved solely, you are setting yourself up for epic fail. Epic fail, not only because that person will really disappoint you because their whole life is wrapped around what they can accomplish and what they can do and how high they can become, but you have allowed yourself to release and diminish your own values, the things that you desired in life, to go after that. It won't result in happiness.
Yeah.
Any woman pursuing that type of high value man will not be happy, because that high value man has options and you're just one of them.
Exactly.
You're never going to be the priority.
Exactly. Let's go to a couple comments. Harvell says, if I heard Kevin right, he is not referring to high value women. He's referring to high value men. And we've listened to a lot of his stuff, and he talks about how to find a high value woman. But to the point, yes, high value means I have options. So in essence, what he's saying is, well, here's the question. Are you high value because you make money, or are you a high earner? Because it seems like him being a high earner allows him to reduce or release any value.
Yes. Or values.
That he would hold on to. So there's no value for infidelity. In essence, there's no value for fidelity. He's valuing infidelity. He's valuing I can go wherever I please to get whatever need I want met, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever the case may be, because I'm the cream of the crop. Right. Everybody wants to get down with this. Right. So I don't need to be satisfied with just you. Mm-hmm. The question is, why are you married? Mm-hmm. It's interesting because Michelle says, after seeing that clip, I think it's clear why that man has been divorced twice. There's no value, especially no high value, in a man that has no idea how to honor his wife and children.
And that goes to the point, like, not to knock Kevin Samuels, because every group needs a voice, okay? There is a group out there that are buying that hook, line, and sinker. That's who they are. They don't value family traditions. They don't have the character that you would desire if you want to create a family with someone. And everybody needs a hero and a champion, so cool. But who do you listen to, husbands? Who do you listen to? Anybody that is telling you that you are entitled. Can we put the title entitled? Let's just just break down what entitlement means. Well, I want to break down the bottom one here where it says the belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment based on your income, right? So based on your status, I'm now entitled to devalue everything that mattered to me in my life. Like, if that's what you're standing on, disaster.
Yeah.
Right around the corner.
Absolutely.
Who do you listen to? And that's the most disturbing thing, because the reason why we decided to speak out on this thing is not because we didn't know about it before.
We know about it.
We've been known about it, but you know, every crew needs a champion, right? But when it kept knocking on the Couples Academy door, right? The wives kept coming and talking about their husbands are literally verbatim repeating what it is that he speaks. Now you messing with us.
It's a problem.
Now you messing with family. Now you messing with marriage, and that's the first foundation that God ever created.
That's right.
And we got to say something.
And we're gonna defend it, and we're gonna fight for it. We're gonna protect it and do whatever is necessary. So stay tuned. We got one more segment to go. We want to hear your comments. We'll be right back. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Welcome back, guys. You are watching the Couples Academy Show, and I want to jump to some comments. Ralph, thanks for being patient. He says, morning from Ohio, my wife Monica and I enjoy your show and try not to miss any of them since finding your show over a year ago, and love what you do and wish we could join you for some help, but don't have the funds or the time yet. I'm the unfaithful and hurt my wife really bad and have been trying to help her since D-Day and been showing up differently for her and have not went back to my old ways since finding your show. Boom.
Love it.
So we do love both of you for your work. Thank you so much for that comment. And that just goes to show you, if you're not ready to take a deep plunge and come see us, you can just tune into this show every day. And this is why we want you to share it so that other people have an opportunity to benefit as well. And I want to go to another comment before I need Hassani to jump into a comment. It is by, it's not, okay, where was it, Hassani? I got to go to that comment. Oh, I'll find it while you go to this one.
So Harvell says, let me use, for example, a Denzel Washington. He do have options. What would make Brenda from the projects think that she could have a man on this level?
Wow.
I'm always looking to learn. Well, so what we're talking about here and what's specific to that clip is about how a high value or high earning man has options. We're not talking about Brenda from the projects. Now, we can talk about that. That's another topic for another episode where we can get into in terms of what is somebody who does not have the resources, who does not have the education, who did not have all the experience. What does she deserve? I guess you're implying that she deserves coal. Like, we hear the term women, they are gold diggers. They're digging for gold. And I remember, I don't know if it was you. I think you said it. So
should we be digging for coal? Should we be digging for coal?
We should be digging for gold.
And
That's value,
I need to qualify
right?
that statement because I'm not an advocate for being a gold digger, but I do think that when it comes to, can I just go there? When it comes to women of African Americans, women, we are demonized for being gold diggers because women want more, but every culture in its own way has that desire, if you are a woman, to be kept, to be taken care of, to have a man that's a leader. I mean, I think about, he's talking about Brenda from the projects. The equivalent of that could be Wendy at the Dagnab Diner. Because there are a lot of NFLs and football players and basketball players that met their wives serving them drinks at a restaurant.
Because truth be told, men aren't... Listen, and here's the challenge. Here's the challenge with this whole basing your values on resources and what you've done. I've heard so many women say, well, I'm a good woman. Well, what makes you a good woman? I have my own job. I have my own house. I have my own car. That I've said for years, that does not make you a good woman at all. Right. That does not qualify you for a relationship at all. And now women have been swinging that flag for years, and now men are doing the same thing. So your goodness, your greatness, your value is determined by possessions, determined by income. That's whack. Right.
And so
it doesn't make sense.
And to jump back on his point about, does Brenda from the projects deserve a high value man? Maybe not. Probably not. And that's also part of the problem. And what really frustrates me about the show is that it invites people to come on there that have insane expectations. They come on there crazy talking, and that's not everybody. That's not the majority. Those are the people that choose to dial into that show and expose their foolishness. So there needs to be balance brought to it, is all I'm ultimately saying.
So I think yesterday you were saying it in jest, right? So when we first met, you had a car. I didn't. I was on the bus. When we first met, you had your own apartment. I was still living at home with my mama and my daddy. Now, at the time, I was nowhere near high value at all, right? But why did she choose me in spite of my lack of resources and lack of money in my early 20s? And this is ridiculous. So now you got 20-year-olds and mid-20s, late 20s saying, I want somebody who makes $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, which is insane. Right. And we talked about yesterday how that's ridiculous. I was making what I was making, but why would you choose somebody who would be considered low value?
Because I was able to see the value in you. And I think that's what we're missing. You know, when it comes to being able to see somebody who has potential, has a vision, has a purpose, as a woman, that's a trigger. That's a turn on. Like, oh, there's something for me to do because God created me to be a helper. Oh, so he's got a vision he needs some help with. Oh, and how God matches you with certain personalities and certain skills. And so that's the part that's missing, because you've got high value husbands listening to this conversation. And I mean, they have built themselves up to a certain place right alongside a wife that was there the entire time. And now you're going to turn to her and look at her and start saying, oh, you ain't high value. You're over 30. You've got 4 kids. You got too much in the middle.
You got a belly now.
You got a belly now. And so now you're not high value. But I'm in my prime. This is the most money I'm going to make. Now, you didn't get here by yourself.
Does that not call? First of all, on that note, Rick said it's not about the house you come from, it's about the house you build together, which is really the point that you're making.
Right.
And so this philosophy creates more of a wedge and a gap between a husband and a wife. It justifies why you can do better. It justifies why you should just move on and find somebody who you deserve, who you're entitled to have. It doesn't bring about harmony. It doesn't bring about reconciliation, and it will justify why it's okay to cheat.
Right. Right. And the other thing, I want to go back, because this is about values. This is honestly, this is a values conversation when we're talking about valuing money and treasures and things. When it came to meeting a young 20-something-year-old man who was at the beginning of his potential, at the bottom of his potential, right? You're looking for specific values. You're looking for specific characteristics. Is this somebody that I can build something with for the long haul? That doesn't mean that you're not going to have problems and issues, and mistakes won't happen, and issues. But at the end of the day, does this person have a core foundation that is in alignment with my beliefs and my values? Because the money will come. And say it never came. At least you have the same beliefs, the same values. You're doing it together. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, I think that there's too much focus on the things and not the thing, which is the most important thing, and that's your values and your character.
Let's get a Couples Academy bomb on that one, because that was worthy of it. And you're absolutely right, Danielle. It's just crazy the way that we're thinking about this whole conversation.
And we wouldn't even be saying any of this if it wasn't husbands that are coming to Hassani in his sessions talking about this, and wives coming to me in my sessions talking about this. Like, he said I'm not a high value woman. What? And you've been married for a decade? Suddenly your value has diminished? I'm sorry, but everything that I know that gets older gets better. More valuable with time.
Like wine.
Your coins, your wine. Like, what else gets better with
Cars,
time?
you know, antique cars.
So how are we devaluing our spouses and you've been there over time? I don't understand that.
And basing it on finances. What about communication? What about a level of emotional intimacy? You know, what about recreational companionship? What about speaking each other's love language, meeting each other's emotional needs? What about the blending of personalities? What about the heartfelt compassion that you have for your partner? None of those things exist, right?
My God.
None of those things matter to a husband and a wife in a marriage. The only thing that matters is how much money you got in your pocket or how much money you have in your bank account that determines the success and the quality of your life and your marriage, which is ridiculous. Stop listening to poison that will not help and enhance your relationship,
husbands, folks. I mean, because I don't know if there's a female equivalent of this guy.
I'm sure there is.
There might be, but you guys gotta figure out who it is that you want to be and what you want to accomplish, and you go to the people that have what you want and are doing what you want to accomplish. Those are the people. Those are your heroes. That's what you listen to. That's what you emulate and start to repeat to your spouse. Okay. Listen, we need to change who we're listening to.
Straight up and down. Do they have what you want? That's the question. If they do not, they do not qualify. I hope you're hearing me. I hope this is sinking in. If you're married, stop listening to people who are giving bad advice to single people who will jack up their relationships that will never lead to marriage. It doesn't make sense. Listen, we're going to continue this conversation. We have more questions. We're going to hit it in the morning. Love you guys. That's why you need to be posting these questions and comments at the beginning and at the end when we're running out of time. But I love you, and we'll see you on tomorrow. Take care.
Peace.